Kennedy Center revenue is collapsing. A wildfire is spreading fast in Nevada, and your phone could actually benefit your mental health. That's some of what we'll get to on The 7 from The Washington Post. I'm Bim Adewunmi. It's Tuesday, August 25th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Number 1. President Donald Trump announced even more tariffs on Canadian goods. A trade deal between the US and Canada collapsed over the weekend, and yesterday, President Trump offered a further signal that his trade war with America's neighbor to the north is intensifying. He said that starting January 1st, US tariffs on Canadian cars, trucks, automotive parts, and steel will be increased to 50%. The more than 4-month delay in the tariff's effective date leaves time for negotiations to resume between the once close allies. Relations have soured since the failure of talks this weekend aimed at averting an earlier batch of Trump tariffs. Those took effect early Saturday and impacted goods including hockey sticks, beer, and whiskey. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said his nation would retaliate with tariffs of its own on US products beginning September 8th. The Supreme Court eased the path for President Trump's limits on mail-in balloting. That's number 2. Earlier this year, Trump signed an executive order to limit mail-in balloting. It would bar the US Postal Service from sending mail-in ballots to voters not on lists of citizens created by federal agencies. And states also would be obligated to send the ballots in envelopes that can be tracked to thwart fraud. A lower court had blocked the order. Yesterday, a divided Supreme Court overturned that block. But that won't be the last word on whether Trump's order will be allowed to go forward. The case now returns to the lower courts. If the executive order ultimately proceeds, it is likely to inject fresh uncertainty into already high-stakes midterm elections that will determine which party controls the House and the Senate. Number 3 is a Post exclusive. Kennedy Center revenue plunged after Trump's name was added to the building. In December, the Trump-led Board of Trustees voted to rename the DC Art Center after Trump and put his name on the front of the building. Ticket sales had already dropped in the 10 months following Trump's takeover, but revenue collapsed after the name change. Confidential documents obtained by the Post show that the center was on track to fall nearly $100 million short of its revenue target. The documents also show that leaders knew revenue was cratering, even as they publicly portrayed Trump's takeover as a financial rescue. In response to questions from the Post, a Kennedy Center spokesperson blamed the center's financial problems on its previous leadership. They said it inherited years of financial mismanagement. The center didn't dispute the Post's account of its internal fiscal 2026 projections. The next big test of President Trump's endorsement power takes place today in South Carolina. That's number 4. Republicans in the state are voting in a runoff to elect a Senate nominee after the sudden death of Lindsey Graham. Trump is backing Senator Darlene Graham, the late senator's sister, for a full 6-year term after the state's Republican governor appointed her to temporarily fill the role after Graham's death last month. She faces Representative Ralph Norman, a conservative firebrand in the state and a House Freedom Caucus member. His campaign has shown signs of momentum despite Trump's support for Graham. But Trump appears motivated to get his candidate over the finish line. He wants to mitigate his recent shaky endorsement record after his candidate suffered losses in at least 10 primary races this year. His aligned super PAC, MAGA Inc., also doled out more than $825,000 over the weekend for get-out-the-vote calls and texts for Graham. That marks the first time this year his political operation has deployed its large reserves of cash. Number 5. A fast-moving wildfire has forced thousands of people to evacuate near Reno in Nevada. As of yesterday afternoon, the Hawk Fire had been 27% contained by emergency responders. 23,000 residents were under go-now orders, and 40,000 others were under warnings. The blaze, which was first reported over the weekend, has injured at least 7 people, 4 civilians and 3 firefighters. It spread to about 15,000 acres in a day. And strong, unpredictable winds in the area have been complicating firefighting efforts. Authorities say the blaze was human-caused, but they have not yet said whether the fire was started intentionally. Here's Sheriff Darren Balaam speaking on local TV station News 4 NBC Reno.
We believe it's human-caused.
Okay.
Watching the fire cameras, you can see it started in a gully. There was no clouds. There was no dry lightning. There was no reports of any thing that would be naturally caused. And so we are, with everything else, putting detectives and resources to this to look at various systems that we have, cameras. Mm-hmm. Right, we're going to see, because there is a trail that goes into that area. Do we see anybody moving in and out? So we are putting resources to that right now to try to identify who that is.
The area was just recovering from multiple fires earlier this month, which a woman admitted to starting on purpose. Reno has been grappling with hot, dry, and windy weather for weeks now. Number 6. You can use your phone to boost your brain health. According to a YouGov poll, most adults under 45 say they want to spend less time looking at screens. That's no surprise. Many popular apps are designed to be addictive, and doom scrolling can leave us feeling demoralized. But perhaps we can use our phones in healthier ways. The Post found 7 science-backed methods to use your phone that are good for your brain. One of them is very simple. Jot down things you are grateful for in your Notes app. Research shows that having more gratitude is linked to less loneliness. If you want to get more fancy, research has also found that speaking more than one language is linked to delayed dementia diagnoses. There are all sorts of apps you can use to learn a language or practice with native speakers. For even more tips, click the link to our newsletter. You can find that, as always, in our show notes. AI detectors offer a solution to flag suspicious writing. But how accurate are they? That's number 7. Back in May, when the Pope released a 47-page document that warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence, there were almost immediate accusations. Had the Pope used AI to help him write about AI? Pangram, a popular app that detects AI-generated writing, suggested the Pope's encyclical contained some AI-generated writing. AI detectors all propose to do one thing, to weed out AI slop. But it's getting increasingly hard to tell the AI-generated from the human. The Post fed some writing into Pangram, and while it detected it was in fact AI-generated, there are ways to get around it. And here's the thing, no one knows exactly what tips off the detectors. Not even the company behind it, Pangram Labs. The fine print acknowledges that the tool has a non-zero error rate. So the takeaway seems to be this. Use your AI detectors with caution. You can try the Post test and see if you can fool the detector. All right, you're all caught up. If you're looking for our newsletter and listening to this on a podcast platform like Apple or Spotify, you can find a link in the description of today's episode. Or just Google The 7 from the Washington Post. You can get it delivered to your inbox early every weekday morning. It has links to all the stories I talk about here on the podcast, and it's totally free. I'm Bim Adewunmi, and I am not AI generated. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.